Welcome to this week's episode of Whoscussion. We are hosts from Whānau, That Random Guy, and the audibly pleasing Harriet Skelly. It finally happened. Alright, so... we've got joining us today the Late Crow. The Late Crow, tell us a bit about what you do on YouTube.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here as always.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I have a YouTube channel on which I place mainly short projects that I just make, practicing and honing my craft of being a filmmaker. And as it happens, I've got a few projects in the pipeline coming up relatively shortly, so that's exciting.
Yes, and I'm excited too, especially for some of the stuff I've been reading from you lately. I am very excited indeed. This week for Part A, we're going to be covering Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, also called Please Kill Me Now, and Sleeper, which is, strangely enough, named exactly the same thing. So really weird production notes there.
I thought it was named what you do while watching it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Let us actually go to sleeper.
Yeah, exactly. Go to sleep. That's the beginning syllabus of whatever you were going to say next. Just getting drowned out by falling asleep. And narcolepsy is a hell of a drug. The Death of Hope is going to be our first story for Part B, the first episode in Season 3 of Dark Eyes. I've got to admit, this is kind of a spoiler for what I'm going to say when we get to it, but I think this season's off to a way better start than last season. And The Spectre of Lanyorn Moor, which is a 6th Doctor story featuring, we'll get to it when we get to it. Alright, so Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Well guys, that's Part A for this week. We'll see you in Part B. No. Okay, so we start with a blowfish in a sports car. And it drives up, and then it pulls up. It pulls up next to this lady, and it goes, "Hey, can we have a corridor right now?" Just for you guys listening abroad, that's Māori for a conversation. And he goes, "Hey, if I am a fish person, how does that work when you think about evolution? Why would I want to still be a fish person?
Why would I have a fish as a head?
Yeah, where everything else is human, and it doesn't make any sense."
He wouldn't be humanoid, and he's got gills on his face, right? That's the main feature that I see here. And he's shaped to be amphibious and to be hydrodynamic. That's the one. As a fish, and then he has a torso and legs.
And let's look at a way better material called the EU, where Izzy swapped bodies with Destry, and Destry needed to constantly be submerged with water. She could only be away from water for a set period of time.
I mean, just look at Destry.
Yeah,
she's literal, like she's what the mix between the traditional, not traditional, the legitimate mermaid idea, and the swamp monster.
Exactly. So what I think an amphibious humanoid should look like is Destry. And if
should have just had that instead.
Yeah, exactly. So this was really dumb because he had, as Harris Kelly pointed out, he had gills. Gills are designed to, correct me if I'm wrong here, but do they not pull oxygen out of water particles, or am I wrong?
They pull water in, and then inside there is a thing that happens that pulls oxygen out of it. But the idea is that it's water intake without the mouth.
Exactly. So he doesn't make any logistical sense whatsoever. That's great.
They just grabbed a big clownfish and just put it on his head. That's what they did.
And let's look at the EU again, but this time a television spin-off, and look at the Sarah Jane Smith adventures, where they had an insectoid race where they still had like insect features and were humanoid.
Still like a fly as a head.
Exactly, with really, really good, convincing animatronics for the eyes and the like. So why is this kid show and a comic book series from the 90s significantly superior to this adult-orientated spin-off? We'll never know. No one could answer that question, not even Maple Syrup. BBC Wales. Coming up next on BBC Wales, whatever the hell we've put together to this week.
We've scrounged that £5.50 that we had for our budget and made one show.
Exactly. That's it. They had the budget of season 1 of Original Classic Who. And it wasn't like increased for inflation, it's still £20. Alright, so Blowfish Monster goes off, which is literally called Blowfish Species. I'm so sorry for the TARDIS Wikia team that you had to put that in your website. I apologize that took place.
No.
Yeah, that's their name. Blowfish Species.
It is legitimately Blowfish.
Yeah, it's so bad. So
James Masters is in this.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't deserve this.
He doesn't actually deserve this. Torchwood are hunting down Blowfish Monster Man because he's driven away from the old lady that had the huge conversation we just had. And Torchwood turn up and they go, "Have you seen a blowfish in a convertible?" And I'm sitting here thinking, hey, aren't you meant to wipe people's memories that have alien encounters? But nobody watched season 1. Clearly not even Chris Chibnall. And so they drive away and she goes, "Bloody Torchwood." And I'm like, they're outside the government beyond the police.
No, they're not. There wasn't in the beginning of this.
No, but it's in the beginning of the next one. So
that's because Jack's back.
Yeah,
Jack's gone. When he gets back, he goes and wipes everybody's memory.
Oh my god, no, he doesn't. It's so frustrating because like last season was the same when they called the police department and everybody there knows who Torchwood is. It's so dumb. So they're not outside anything. They're outside of like me wanting to care. So anyway, a university student's first week project in Photoshop appears on top of this building, and Spike walks out and he goes, "Whoa, I'm in a significantly less produced television series," and he's looking around and it's this guy
really
going,
odd,
yeah, exactly, and he's like, "Oh, I hark! What does mine ears hear?" And his ears hear somebody go, "Help me, please, help me." And then James Masters is like, "Hey, I'm James Masters," with some accent that he was trying to do. Like, sorry, James, but I don't know what that was. And
he was just being Spike. It sounded like Spike. He's just Spike.
He's just Spike. So he holds a person over the edge and he goes, "Hey, I'm Spike." And the guy goes, "Please, not in this show." And then he gets dropped to his death. And he grabs the other person and goes, "Hey, I've just saved your life, but I'm going to threaten you for no reason. Bye." And the guy goes, "Catch you later, fella." So they go away.
He's being Spike, which is it's actually something that I feel that I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I'm pretty sure the last time Spike just randomly showed up, he killed a random guy and then told the other guy to just leave. Like, this is just straight out of Buffy. That's it.
That's fantastic. Hopefully he mentions Vegeta and Goku like he did in Buffy, because that would just make things a lot better.
He does do other pop culture references.
Yeah, he does.
Like, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Yes, we are. Anyway, the Blowfish man, he grabs this old lady. Oh, was she old? No, it was a young lady. And he's like, "I'm going to blow her brains out." And then he does something you never, ever get a character to do, which is explain who the other characters are in the episode.
Especially considering he has no relevance to any other part of one or any other relevance at all. And how does he even know them at all?
Exactly. Who knows? Yeah. So he gives us the character tropes for this season. He's like, "This season you're this character, and this season you're also this character." And he goes, "Who's gonna shoot me?" And then Jack kills him, and everybody goes, "Jack, how did he not see you as he was looking in the direction of you?" And Jack goes, "I don't know. Blowfish logic."
I just appeared.
Yeah,
and then Yanto was like, "At least I get to be a character."
Yeah, exactly. He actually says he wears a T-shirt this season called "At least I'm a character this time," which is great.
He is.
Yeah,
he's like the Deadpool of characters.
Yeah, he is. He's straight up Deadpool. He is disconnected to everybody else.
He is so disconnected from the story. He's making jokes about people dying at horrible deaths. He's actually become self-aware. It's fantastic.
Exactly. He's learning. He's Skynet.
I'm only watching this for him now.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why there's a memorial to him in Cardiff. There's an actual memorial to Yanto Jones, which I've always loved.
Actually beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Jane and I went to the wall. That was the first thing. We landed in Cardiff, and then she's like, "I want to find the Yanto wall now." And I was like, "I have had 4 hours of sleep in a 48-hour period. I want to just go to bed," but that didn't happen. Yeah, exactly. Went to a wall. It was a nice wall, best wall. So anyway, they're like, "Jack, where'd you go? Oh, tell me, Jack." And he's like, "Oh, Eve Miles, you haven't gotten any better since I've been away, have you?" And she's like, "No, Jack." And Jack's like, "Hey, I found a doctor." And then Owen goes, "Did he fix you?" And then he's like, "Didn't I have that conversation with Gwen last season?" And then he's like, "Nah, that was totally me. It says so in the script." And he's like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And Gwen's like, "Oh, I'm in love with you this season, Jack." And Jack's like, "That I'm not entirely sure how that occurred, but all right." And then Tosh is like, "Hey guys," and they're like, "What, Tosh?" She's like, "Remember when I was Japanese?" They're like, "That's your one character trait, isn't it?" She's like, "Sure is, kiddo." And then she bumps the chin.
Remember when I was actually an introvert? I'm not that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an extrovert now for no reason. Hopefully Big Finish can fix this.
Probably the lesbian encounter that she had.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. I mean, that's just, it's one of those things. When you have a lesbian alien encounter and they end up in a children's show, that changes you forever. So they go, Tosh is like, "Hey, we've picked up rift activity." And then Yanto's like, "Oh, that's riffing." And I'm sorry, I'm done. Bye, guys, I'm leaving. Anyway, so they end up going to this place, and then Jack goes, "Oh, no, hey, I don't even remember. How does he find the hologram?"
He gets sent it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So his sonic screwdriver gets the Star Wars reference.
Yeah, and then there was a Star Wars reference.
If this is his first time to this backwater planet, how does he know what Star Wars is?
No, he's from Earth. He's from the Earth Time Agency. The thing is that surely surely at some point Star Wars references will go out the window when you're literally living in the sci-fi future.
Yeah, exactly.
51st century. So.
Yeah, so everything changes and you've got to be ready for Star Wars references. That was the original cut.
That's what it's all about. That's when you got to be ready.
And that's what you got to be ready for. Star Wars. It's a hell of a drug. Look at Harry. It's gonna trying desperately to stay alive. It's all right, Harry. It's gonna. I believe in you. Sultan Bordy. He goes off to this bar that I don't recall he knew the address of.
I don't think he did. I think he just kind of stumbled across the first bar he found, really.
Yeah, he was like, I'm just going to park up here because the script won't explain it and nobody else will. And then Spike's in the bar and they're like, hey, let's attack each other and then kiss each other. Because we've got to remind the audience, Jack's pansexual, right, guys? In case you forgot, because no one watched last season, Jack, get this,
no one watched
pansexual.
last season.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why this entire episode is basically set up.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we need people to actually care. And then James Masters was like, hey, I'm literally just going to do the paces this whole episode. And then John Barrowman said the same thing to him. And so the rest of this episode is just them phoning it in. And what happens is Spike, unfortunately not Spiegel, but he is from the future. He goes, hey, there's a bomb thingy that I need you to help me with. And he says radiation. And they should have just said some made-up space word instead.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, they do explain later that he is just messing with them with that. He's not lying about that completely, which I guess is kind of fair. And then you can understand that the reason why they knew that he was messing with them is because radiation don't do that.
Exactly.
That's fair. But at the same time, yeah, they should have just said something else. The main thing about it was that he was like, oh, the radiation will leak out and kill everybody in the area. And no, any container that's designed to hold radiation for any length of time would be able to do it for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Yeah. Because of the crazy nature of radioactivity and particle physics. So yeah, they probably should have just said, what if it gets in the hands of some terrorists? Considering the time period that this was made.
Yeah, exactly.
Because terrorists having crazy radiation cluster bombs, that would be pretty terrifying, actually. Yeah,
but then we get into the scary territory of the plot of the first Back to the Future. So, and then the last thing I need is more references to films he shouldn't have watched. So, yeah, there was that. And Jack's like, oh, let's help him. But guys, be careful. He's bad. I'm not going to give you any way to defend yourself from anything that I know he's got. For no reason whatsoever. Hey Gwen, I'm going to specifically tell you that his kisses are poisonous, but give you no antitoxins whatsoever, because I'm clinically retarded.
Not even tell you specifically that they're poisonous. Just don't kiss him, which is, it's not a real thing to say to somebody.
Yeah, exactly. But also, we forgot Reese, who is still my favorite character. Reese and Andy are pretty much the only characters I care about in the whole of Torchwood. And Reese, Andy's in this episode randomly as well. Hi, Andy. You get your own Big Finish spin-off, so cool. Reese is like, I'm Reese. And she goes, and Gwen goes, I know Reese. She ends up getting kissed by Captain John Hart quickly after that conversation's over. And he's like, oh, actually, that random guy hasn't mentioned who John Hart is yet. So James Masters is called John Hart in this episode. And
it's called Spike.
Okay, fine. It's called Spike John Hart McGillian. And so when he kisses them, he goes, hey, I want to be in a way better show in the MCU in a good 15 years. And she's like, oh, cool.
I'm legitimately in hundreds of other better shows than this.
Exactly. But he was unfortunately Piccolo. So, and and he goes, man, I really hope next year I'm not Piccolo. So yeah, I literally can't remember what happens. They find he starts shooting all the Torchwood people, and then Yanto goes, I want to go on a date with Jack, and Jack's like, hey, do you realize we're not written very well at all? And Yanto's like, I know. And then they go up to the top, and Captain John Hart goes, hey, Yanto, you need to go save your friends. And Yanto goes, well, I guess I'm a character, and he leaves. And then Jack and him have an argument, and then he pushes Jack off the side of the building, and then he goes, Jack, I'm gonna touch you. And Jack's like, hey, do you know, they really, really don't ever explain how long it takes me to come back, but sometimes it's immediately, like in Doctor Who, but for some reason it's gonna be not immediately, so that I can feign death that doesn't achieve anything in the plot.
I feel like he is actually back at this point, but doesn't show it immediately. Right.
Okay. I feel like that's the case. What does feigning death actually achieve in the story? Go.
Well, it means that he gets to do that thing at the end. where he shows up randomly at the end.
Cool. All right.
And
Cool.
Spike gets to be all shook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's the shook Spike.
That's really dumb. He would have shook Spike in the exact same fashion and stopped him from going inside of Torchwood if he had just woken up straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was really
We
dumb.
need to create some tension in the plot because it's got nothing else going for it.
Yeah, here's the problem: is Russell had little to nothing to do with this season, so this is all on Chris, and I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay, we need
I feel like I feel like Chris was given the characters and the general idea of what Torchwood's supposed to be, and he was like, I'm not going to watch the first season because it sounds terrible. So I'm not sure how I'm going to play this.
That's great because he was the executive producer last
that.
season.
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't watch it.
I'm sure he didn't watch it. He didn't even see the dailies. He was just like, just tell me when it's ready to go on TV, and I'll put it on TV.
Like, he would have watched the pilot and been like, "How am I producing this?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
phone it right in because
I'm gonna wait till I produce a much better drama.
Yeah, exactly, and exactly. So that's the end. Anyway, everybody ends up, huddling back at Torchwood Hub, and they're like, "Hey, tell us about what's actually going on." And then John Hart goes, "Oh well, there's this diamond, and I want it, and I killed this lady for it." And then the diamond turned out to be just such a bad prop. I wanted to punch my own nose, so I actually did. And let me just tell you, watching it teary-eyed for the last 5 or so minutes was great. So this hologram plays, and somehow the hologram knew to turn around and look at exactly where Spike would be standing after the bomb was on him. So maybe she had pre-programmed his response. Was he being mind controlled at the time? Who knows? But Spike's like, "Hey, you guys need to save me." And they're like, "Why?" And then he handcuffs himself to Gwen. He goes, "Gwen, we need to do what a lot of bad sci-fi and just bad TV in general does. Not explain how we get from point A to B. So we're just going to cut to us being there." So they cut to them being there. And they're like, "Sweet, we got here and somehow it drove." And he's like, "That is entirely what happened."
No, there is a couple of scenes where they're in the car, which I'd like to point out that I for a moment there I was like, how did she drive? Because she was handcuffed to him. Yeah. But luckily, Late Crow pointed out that vehicle is actually automatic, so that kind of works out. There we go. But at the same time, how did they get into the vehicle in that manner?
Yeah, because you would have had to climb across the chair.
Did she pull him in through the passenger door, or did did she push him in through the drivers, make him go over the center console? I don't know. They just managed to get in there somehow.
Yeah, they had 9 minutes, right? So
that I imagine what actually happened is he undid it. He grabbed the key, undid it, got in, and then redid it when she got in. That's what happened.
Yeah, I see. So yeah, I just want to have. Well, there we go. So yes. So,
anyway, they're now on the roof.
Yeah, they're on the roof.
Where Spike showed up initially.
Here's my thing. So, can you guys see how far away that is from the harbor? Right? It's quite a distance away. How do they get into the car very cumbersomely and get up to the top of their building in the 9 minutes requirement? I hate countdown timers and plots. I know Classic Who... Actually, did Classic Who have a countdown timer scene? I don't think it did.
Not many.
No, I made a parody film with a countdown clock.
Yeah, countdown clocks are just they're just bad, right?
And surprisingly enough, there was a New Who episode where the countdown timer was used correctly, but the episode was not. So it's a bit interesting, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is they could have been like, we've got, I don't know, just don't even mention the amount of time. Just say we don't have very long. Just say we don't have very long.
Considering it had an alien counter on it, right?
Yeah.
It didn't have numbers. So you could have just said unsure amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
The only issue was that you had the hologram lady say 10 minutes. So you shouldn't have just not had a hologram lady. Just have it become a bomb. There was no reason for an explanation there. Yanto could have been like, it's a bomb.
Exactly. Yanto was great though. As soon as I hops onto him, Yanto starts the clock, and I was like, that's amazing. Because I hated that clock last season, but now this is his character vice. It's fantastic.
Being a jackass is amazing for him.
Yeah.
Just as soon as he's about to blow up, he's counting down. Oh, now you've only got 9 seconds.
Yeah. So anyway, they end up throwing the bomb away, and they're throw the bomb in, and Gwen goes, "Tell me, Jack!" And it blows up, and they're like,
and it's suddenly nice as well.
You fantastically glossed over that. how they got this bomb off of him.
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, my apologies. So they the bomb is DNA locked because why not? And what happens is they have a scene where they zoom up and zoom out. I hate the step up Torchwood so much. They zoom up and zoom out to try and create action and tension. It's so frustrating. But they do it on the fact that they're putting files of blood into the syringe. They then run up to James Masters' Spike McGillihan and jam it into his chest and straight into his cardiovascular muscle. And and then the DNA lock disengages because his DNA was corrupted. That's not how that works. And I'm pretty certain, correct me if I'm wrong here, Harriet Scully, but doesn't DNA corruption happen through being around radioactive material? Like what happened to Murakami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, so, that thing that they reference in the beginning of the story.
Exactly. So I don't know why they thought blood does that, because that isn't true.
I mean, here's the
and it should have made him very ill, because it would have been different types of blood.
Oh yeah, he would have immediately got very sick. Immediately. The rejection for that sort of stuff would just, he would not be good. I mean, I guess he is from the future, so probably all right, but at the same time, no. But the real thing about it, the real kicker for me is if there is a device that is scanning just entities in a region and then is locked to a particular kind of DNA. Obviously, it would be extremely hard to scan for DNA at that level. I mean, it takes us like a lot of work to get a DNA sample for things, and actually get a proper like scan of it. So even if that was the case, and it was managing to do this, it would have to ignore vast amounts of DNA that had been all over Jack, all over John. Not only was he like all over Jack previously, but he's covered in wool and other like things that are biodegradable, so they are made of cells and organisms. He's also filled with bacteria, both inside and outside. It would have to ignore this vast amount of data, right? So then when they inject him with like, was it like a syringe, so probably not even like a full cup of liquid that's somebody else's DNA, it would just ignore that.
Yeah. Yes, it
if
would.
It's ignoring everything else.
It's really frustrating. So that's when Gwen says, "Tell me how this even works, Jack." And she throws the bomb into the rift. It blows up. And then Jack goes, "You need to uncuff Gwen." And he goes, "Okay." And he goes, "Now you need to go." And he's like, "Oh, by the way, I found Grey." And then, like, as an audience member, you're meant to be intrigued, but I don't give a single iota of a squirt of piss. And so he disappears. And then John Barrowman's like, "Oh, I need to act like that was surprising." It is surprising. And then they go, "Who's Grey?" And he goes, "Don't worry about it," which is really frustrating because earlier in this episode, they were like, "Please stop keeping us out of information, as it's really important for us to have information." And that was kiss, kill me, please. I'm going to get Harriet Scully's thoughts because he's got some very pressing ones. And then we'll come back to the late crows. Harriet Scully, your thoughts?
I don't know. I think I kind of brought all in between bits and pieces because they were pretty urgent to me, honestly, because there's just some seriously bad shit that happens in this episode.
That is absolutely true.
Like there's just there's so many wrong dynamics that happen. Like they whoever wrote this, whether it was actually Chris or like he just like fixed it up after something, I honestly know. I hope that it wasn't. You know, we can live in hope. But the thing that really gets me is that all of these characters are different from what they were in season 1. Yeah, they were all completely different. Gwen is probably the one who stayed the most same, honestly, but that's only because she wasn't really like a stationary character throughout season 1.
She isn't this season either, so that's good.
Exactly. So it's like, what the fuck? Yanto is completely different. He's no longer this wimpy kid anymore. He's actually like just at the same time you can understand the character arc for him could have made him like this, but the thing is that supposedly it's been a year, which is wrong. It's no way it's been a year. It's probably only been like about 6 months since they hung out. So Yanto's character change is vast for that amount of time. But it could just be a mellowing out of what happened with the cyber woman. Yeah. But it still kind of doesn't really make sense. The real big changes is the fact that the Gwen Owen dynamic has changed as well. Like,
it didn't even happen. What the hell? They just don't care about it anymore. They're just like completely they've forgotten that whole like affair that they had, and now Gwen apparently thinks it was with Jack. Where did that come from? Yeah, that was really bizarre. Point of this?
Also, Owen's no longer his like crazy like alien face self anymore. He's like tame now, and it's weird. He's not that tame. It doesn't make any sense. And then when him and Toshiko are having having a heart to heart, and he's like talking about how he'd like to settle down with a woman, and he's like he's all right with stuff, and I'm like, this is not him at all. Like, this is completely different. And surely, after the last time we saw him with it in regards to a woman, he was literally going crazy about this woman that he had like basically a one night stand with. This is not him at all. Like, and then Tosh, she's suddenly an extrovert as well. Like,
yeah, that is so weird.
She's asking the hard questions and getting out there and actually like conversing with the bad guy as well. Like, it's just, they're not the same people.
Oh, when she says you got to admit he's cute, I was like, who are you?
Yeah, you're not the same person. So I don't fully understand what the deal was with that. But I mean, I'm not going to say that I dislike the characters that they are, but you could have, explained this in a better way. Like,
you're asking too much of Torchwood.
Yeah, I am. So yeah, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It would have been a better season 1 opener, honestly. Like, if you actually
Blowfish Man tells us who they are in season 1.
Yeah, if you just legitimately delete season 1 from the folder and then just have this as season 1 of Torchwood, then I think it might be alright.
Yeah, you wouldn't even skip a beat because season 1's not even canon anymore, apparently.
Yeah, like, season 1's basically not even canon. They don't talk about anything else that happens in season. They make more references to Star Wars than they do to season 1. It's just, yeah, there's no cohesion between the two seasons other than in their relationship between each other. But even then, it's just gone. Like Yanto and Jack's relationship is the only thing that like has some connection between them. But even then, it's also completely changed because Yanto's a different character again.
I'm a different character, Yanto Jones.
So yeah, that's Kiss Kill Me Now.
Yeah, it really is.
I legitimately started it like at work. So I started trying to watch it. I'm like, okay, I can sit through 40 minutes of this. I got some time. Got like 2 seconds into it when the blowfish comes in the sports car and like growls. Like, for some reason he's a fish that growls. I don't understand. at this old lady, and then I just pause it and I just leave my desk. I was considering just leaving Whoscussion at that point. I just couldn't.
There's a scene in Sleeper where I was just like, the show is now Harriet Skelly's. I'm done. I can't do this series anymore.
There's so many bits of this that it's just done. Like, there's the thing about it is not that these things are overly ridiculous in retrospect, and for Doctor Who as a whole. Like, if this had happened at the beginning of a Doctor Who episode, or even at the beginning of the Sarah Jane Smith episode, then you'd be like, okay, these are family shows. You can have like random elements to this. But this is meant to be an adult show. Like, having that real campy, cartoony element at the beginning is ridiculous, especially when you're trying to sell the second season of your adult show. Like, what are you doing?
Not their job, apparently. Well,
so, there you go.
The Late Crow, your thoughts on Kiss Kiss Bango Bango?
My thoughts on Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Well, it's a 2005 neo-noir crime film by Shane Black starring Robert Downey Jr.
We should have just talked about the movie instead. We should have.
That's absolutely fantastic. But how about Torchwood?
Oh, it's significantly worse. Okay. Yeah, it was not a good time. Although it took me longer to kind of walk away from my desk as Harriet Skelly did, because I was at home when I started watching it. Then I think I got maybe I think it was about 16 minutes in, and then I'm like, I'm going to go to work. Working is better than this, and I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay, but yeah, most of my issues have been brought up already. But yeah, the issue started right out of the gate. So when the light stops for the stupid blowfish, I was looking at it going, okay, the lights wouldn't have stopped for one car for one person. You should have just gone straight through. It's no.
Yeah. Also, who was this old lady that was walking around at the night and a completely empty street?
She's one of Torchwood's ex-members from Torchwood.
Oh, yeah.
From the 1970s.
That's why she knows, because it's totally a secret organization.
Okay, also, when Owen shot the tyre, firstly, no, there's no way you're doing that, for starters. 2, how did the blowfish not crash immediately?
Because he's an excellent driver.
Yeah, well, he did have a convertible for some reason in a tuxedo.
Clownfish are renowned for their braking work.
Oh, yeah, actually. I remember that scene in Finding Nemo.
Yeah, the drag race at the end. Didn't you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Where Finding Nemo was actually Liam Neeson.
Yeah. I've got a particular set of skills.
When when Nemo's dead, he becomes the Drift King to save Nemo at the end.
I drifted to the D dimension. Everyone's dinosaurs here.
When Jack shoots stupid blowfish, I love how the camera angle makes it look like he'd have had to shoot directly through Yanto to get that right.
He did.
Like,
Yanto wasn't there. Yanto disappears when he's not on screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's like a particle. If you don't perceive it, it doesn't exist.
Moving forward, so Spike, James Masters, MacGuffin of the story, James Hart, he blatantly shows he's armed. Why does it take the police forever to respond? And when they do, they're responding to a disturbance. I'm pretty sure firearm disturbance would be much higher priority. Surely.
Especially in England.
Yeah. Here's my... Yeah, that's really weird because, like, he has his guns, they all leave the bar, and the cops never turn up.
Yeah, the thing is that there's also two big bouncers, right, who are probably also trained, especially at least considering most bouncers these days, are probably trained in some sort of firearm disarmament, at least the range that he was, and he wasn't even aiming at them, so it would have been very easy to disarm him in the way that he displayed that. Everyone else freaking out, yeah, sure, but these guys are like, they should be professionals at least.
Yeah, because most bouncers I know have military training, so yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Or even just like taekwondo or something like that, you know, like should have been enough.
That's
Moving forward again. So when as much as I love Reese, that phone conversation he has, I don't know much about how Torchwood operates except terribly, but if you're in a semi-important mission with someone you definitely shouldn't trust, I'm pretty sure you should leave family phone calls for later, like not actually answer the phone.
Yeah, like, just don't answer the phone. Just don't answer.
Why doesn't she have a work cell phone as well? Oh, that confuses me.
Also, as I said in the group chat, at this point in her life, she should just have an answering machine message that says, "No, Reese, I'm at work. Go to bed."
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, just if this happens all the time for her, it seems to that he just for some reason he calls it exactly the wrong time all the time. It's amazing.
Well, since season 1 isn't canon anymore, this could be the first time it's actually happened in the universe. She didn't have that affair with Owen. Everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Fine. She didn't retcon him or anything.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't cause long-lasting emotional trauma because she's not a character.
Yeah.
Also, the very last scene, because I need to end this quickly for myself. So the final scene, they say, because it randomly turns to night, because that's how Rift things work.
I totally forgot that time went back, and we have to dodge our earlier selves.
I love that they specifically say we have to dodge ourselves. Then, like a minute later, Jack says to the team, "Let's go back to work." I'm like, "Did you forget what you said like a minute ago?"
Yeah, you can't go back to work.
Also, it's such a weird thing to happen with no like repercussions as well. Like, just we've gone back in time. Wouldn't one of them at least be like, "Oh, so that's how we like solved this issue"? Like that should have been their get out of jail free card as well. You know. Like, oh, that's how we managed to save Gwen in the last moment because we like went back in time and fixed it.
Also, shouldn't those two men be fighting again if they went back to the moment the rift opened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shouldn't he be there? Shouldn't James Masters just be there again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It may
and then
be
Jack can just grab him and be like, "What do you know about Grey?" And he'd be like, "How did you know?" Like,
maybe of some consolation to know that Russell was originally slated to write this episode, but then they had to get Chris in to do it.
Oh, so do you think Chris was doing patchwork on the script more than it was Chris's script?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Thank you.
Either that, or at least he had a lot less time to do it.
Ah, there we go.
TARDIS Wiki specifically said Davies conceived the opening segment of the episode featuring the blowfish and sports car.
Holy shit!
So much sense.
Oh my God, they make so much sense. It was him. I bet you anything he wrote it as like a joke to tell Chris how to write these characters. Oh my God, I love you, TARDIS Wiki, so much. Holy shit. I wish I had enough time this week to watch the bloody Declassifieds because I just want to understand this cluster F of an episode.
Yeah.
This radioactive cluster bomb of an episode.
Yeah, so radioactive, and these like leak.
Imagine
proofs.
dragons playing in the background.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. All right, go to the next one, please.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, we're gonna go to part B. I don't want to do this episode. Okay. So Sleeper. The actress is going to be in a big Finish story where she's a chancellery guard. So we could just listen to that. instead. Live on Whoscussion.
We've already watched this.
Yeah, we've already watched this. This lady and her husband. Was her husband? Yeah, they were married, eh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so she's like, hey, let's have way more human conversations than any other characters in the show. And he was like, sure, honey. And so they're having a nice little chinwag, and then they hear a disturbance in the force. And these two fellas break in, they're like, we've got balaclavas on, and we're bad. And I'm like, if your plan is to kill both of them, why are you hiding your faces? Who knows? So they come in.
It
and
didn't
like,
seem like that was.
was it just going to be like a? Is it a burglary or a robbery? When
It's a burglary.
It's a burglary.
Robbery is daylight hours.
Oh, I thought robbery was you don't meet the people you stole from.
No, I'm
Was
pretty
that
sure.
burglary?
Okay.
Hang on.
You continue, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know there's a separation in the force. So Yanto. No, what? No, I'm jumping ahead of the story.
Okay, robbery, in contrast to theft, is a taking of property that does not involve person-to-person contact.
Ah, there we go.
Or
So
intimidation or coercion.
right. So burglary is when somebody is actually you're confronting the people you're stealing from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Fantastic. Dude, isn't it a bank burglary and not a bank robbery?
No, because generally you don't want you're not meant.
Oh, you're not meeting the guy who owns the bank. Is that it?
Yeah. You're not,
I see.
You're not
There we
meeting the people you're stealing from. Not necessarily, anyway.
All right. Okay. Cool. There we go. So anyway, we spoke about etymology, and that is far more interesting than the entirety of this episode. Chiefly because it is actually one of my. I love etymology. I don't know why I'm so strange. And I force my friends to watch shit episodes of the expanded universe. So am I a horrible person? Probably. So Sleeper. So the camera goes down to the floor, and you hear the burglars going
Screams.
ah, and then it goes and then Captain Jack goes beyond the government, outside the police, because of course they had to bring that back. Why? You guys are not either of those things. Everyone knows who you are, right? There's an episode on Doctor Who where Unit goes, you don't work for Torchwood, and I was like, aren't they outside the government, beyond the police, guys? So they're outside the government, beyond the police, and then they get called in to this event. Why does Torchwood get called in? Are they meant to be like alien experts? Did the police just presume aliens were involved?
Yeah, because there's no murder weapon. They're not sure how he managed. If it was the dude, they don't know how he managed to do it, considering he was unconscious. If it was the chick, they don't know how she managed to do it because she was unarmed.
Yeah,
and just like cowering in a corner.
Yeah.
So they were like,
If that's
"This
the
is
case, Torchwood should be involved in every CSI crime.
Yeah, exactly. Come in next.
It's mainly that like the police in Cardiff particularly know that shit's weird. So as soon as there's a weird thing, they're just like, all right, call Torchwood.
Yeah, they're like, sweet, just call Torchwood up because they're outside the government, beyond the police.
Yeah, because we totally know about them.
Yeah, exactly. And
totally correct.
And then Dennis from the pizzeria goes, "Guys, I'm outside the government, beyond the police too." And then he gets called up whenever the police like, yo, we need somebody to help figure out this crime, and we reckon pastrami is the only way to do it. So Dennis hops on his bicycle and he gets to the scene. He goes, "This is a job for Torchwood." Then he calls up Torchwood because he knows their number.
I've got the stuffed crust.
And he goes, "Guys, it's a stuffed crust cream." And then they turn up and they're like, and then Captain Jack swishes his coat around him. He goes, "Guys, this poor innocent young black woman has been attacked in her home. Let's do this." And they start swapping for fingerprints and everything. No, that's not what they do. They instead they go to the hospital. I don't even care. So it turns out she's an alien. That's what happened. And
just get past the first part.
I just don't give it. I just don't care. It turns out she's an alien. They like, let's use the mind probe, and I got okay. So when Lucy Miller died, and 8 got angry, I beat him.
Yep.
I was above him in anger when they brought up the mind probe. That is Time Lord tech, right? You could have just called it anything else, but you called it specifically a device in universe the Time Lords created. No.
Well, I mean, you can have a thing that probes the minds that's not necessarily related to the Time Lord mind.
The Time Lord, because their version was a light beam, right? That's what they did on Payback Doctor.
I imagine what's probably happened is at some point somebody else figured out about.
The Master could have made it when in the Mind of Evil.
Possibly, that's possible as well. And then at some point Torchwood got like plans or something of it, and then made a really shit version.
Yeah, like Toshiko's really good sonic screwdriver.
Exactly.
It wasn't good. So it turns out she's an alien sleeper, and she's like, "Oh, but I know I'm human." And then Gwen's like, "Oh, that's right." Oh, sorry.
I want to bring up something real quick.
Yeah.
So she was giving off magnetic pulses. That's what like caused a whole lot of lights to go out and all sort of stuff. And they knew this, and they were like, "Let's put a big metal thing on her head. Let's do it."
That's really dumb. So they mind probe her, and then she does Rankin's serial number. And then Jack goes, I know this. And like, how? How do you know this? Like, just how? And he's like, I'm Replacement the Doctor, remember? And like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot season 1 even existed. So I forgot about that. It's okay. It's okay. Why does the kids show get a way better Replacement Doctor? Shh.
Yeah.
Shh. And so they go, Mr. Smith. Oh, no, they don't. That's a different show. So the robot lady is like, hey, I'm a robot. He's like, you're a bioorganic terrorist. And he gets real angry at her, but it makes no sense because in her current persona, she's not a bad person. So he's angry at a persona she doesn't even have. So this was really bad direction. And I feel bad for John Barrowman that he had to like just not act correctly. And so he's like not acting correctly, and she's like, hey, I'm not a bad person. And Gwen goes, oh, that's right, the whole reason Torchwood hired me is because I'm meant to be the human empath. And she goes, I'm empathetic to you. And she goes, oh, thank you. And she's like, yep.
She literally just says that. She says that the whole way through. That's all she does.
That's all she does this whole episode, is like, I am empathetic. But anyway, the other sleeper agents who were, for whatever reason, Justin Cardiff, like, don't do...
Because they just want to take over Cardiff. That's the only thing they...
Don't do global threats in your small scale show.
No, don't do it. They just wanted to take over Cardiff. That's it. That's all they wanted.
They were gonna use these nukes to like attack world.
Just Cardiff.
It's so weird because if they had like launched these nukes, right? There are so many anti-nuke procedures in the world that by the time they went up, the whole of the UN would have been notified and made sure they came right back down. Let
me make this even more clear. The place that these nukes were at was legitimately just a storage facility. There's no way that they would have been able to launch the nukes from there.
That's great. That's so good.
Like, maybe, like, they just, like, he just, like, goes in and sets one of them off, and then, like, boom, Cardiff's gone. And just be like, oh, shit, a nuclear accident happened. Okay, cool.
Oh, cool, no more Torchwood.
No wars or anything, no more Torchwood. Well, Jack would still be alive, but, you know.
Oh, man, imagine surviving.
Even then, like, the end, when he's getting real solemn about, like, the end of, like, the world if they go off. And, like, Gwen doesn't say to him, yeah, but you'll still be here. And he doesn't even, like, he seems to be really solemn about it. Like, you don't... Why are you solemn about it? You'll still be here.
Yeah, you'll still legitimately... It's so weird. I don't know. But he's like, don't worry, I'm your captain, guys. And the other sleeper agents, like, they start doing random things. Like, this blonde lady blows up a shoe store? I don't know what that was. She blew it up.
I think it was meant to be a government building.
Okay, so they blow up a government building in Cardiff. Does Cardiff even have a government?
I don't know. There was the old guy, the blonde woman, the
paramedic?
EMT... The paramedic. Was there another one? I think there was a. So the paramedic blows up a gas tanker over top of a underground
fuel
line that's for a particular type of for military use, which is apparently in Cardiff for some reason. The blonde chick blows up. I'm assuming it's like a government thing some way that causes them to go into this into this mode that allows them to fire the nukes somehow, and then which makes no sense whatsoever. And then the old guy randomly kills like the mayor or somebody. I don't know,
he kills Narvin from Big Finish's Gallifrey Range.
That pains me. I'm just
for some reason or another, and then goes to find the nukes. Now the thing about finding the nukes, that's so good, but the two like military or government related things have nothing to do with that whatsoever.
Yeah. I don't understand why it happened at all. It was so weird.
And considering both of them killed themselves during doing that, I kind of thought at the time that the chick, the lady who was the sleeper agent in the beginning, had actually used her control of this arm thing that she's now got apparently to literally make them kill themselves, which I was pretty sure was actually the end of this. But that was not the case.
Yeah, because then she could have proved she was the good one, right? And then just gone about her life with her husband.
Yeah, I completely had forgotten that the ending was actually way worse than that. Yeah. But my brain was trying to correct it for me. So yeah. Also, the thing about the blonde chick, she was pushing a baby when she was activated. It seemed like it was like an infant proper like carriage, and it made like really cuckoo, like no real word sounds. So it seems like it would have been too young for it to be like away from a actual.
Oh no, she would be the mother.
Yeah, right. How did she do that if she's alien? And
apparently they can simulate the life forms on the planet, the prominent life form.
Yeah, but it's the thing is that she's very much. It seems very much like they're not actually human. Like they are. they have other things going on, and it's the thing in their arm that's projecting that image as well as the force field. So unless like it, and also when a human being is growing inside of a person, inside of a lady, there's a lot of things that happen, particularly like chemicals, hormones, but also that baby is literally draining the life out of that human, because that's how we work. It's effectively a parasite that we allow to grow inside of us. That the alien thing that was controlling her would probably be like, no, you're getting out of me right now.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a threat, right?
Exactly. Like,
yeah, and that's what happens. And some women, their immune systems kill babies because they think it's a threat. Like, so
yeah, exactly. So, and the same thing happens with legitimate spies in real world circumstances. Is lady spies will either like sort of Black Widow, I guess. I can't believe I have to bring this up. Who's literally had her had her tubes tied so she can't. Well, it's even worse than that for her, but
yeah, she had a complete hysterectomy.
That she's unable to have children because of her spy status. Not only because the whole emotional thing, which was dumb, but also because having a child while you're undercover is a terrible, terrible thing. And they found that out in early spy stuff when there's actually been a case of a spy lady who had her cover blown because she screamed in her mother tongue when she was giving birth.
Wow.
So it's kind of reasonable to just be like, if you're gonna be the female, then no kids as the spy, and you can explain that for any number that her literal immune system gave up or anything. There's many good reasons. They obviously didn't really care about it. They just like, oh, she's got a baby and like shock factor of the baby getting hit by a car or something.
Yeah.
No, stop it.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
Seriously.
For me,
Science
though,
advisors.
you need them. The thing for me, though, is, I don't know, I'm such a bad person. So, when the bomb goes off and that lady smashes into the hood of that car, I legitimately cried out in laughter, and I couldn't control myself.
Wow.
I was like, this is so horrible, but so funny, holy shit. And like, I was like, in the foyer at work, so people were looking at me.
That's great. Because there's like throughout Sleeper in particular, there's a whole lot of bits where Yanto is just not caring at all, like being cold, but like in a very humorous way. Just he has become self-aware, especially in last episode as well. Like there was that scene where they were exploring the office building, and he says that they need to search either this floor or the roof, and he says to Jack, "Hey, you're good at roofs. Go up there." And you're just imagining him standing on the corner.
Yeah, on the roof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
like, wow, he's self-aware.
He is self-aware. Yeah, that's so
and
good.
that just happens all throughout this as well. Like when they're putting the mind probe on her, and he's talking about like the last time they used it, and his head exploded, and he's like he sits into the chair with the mind probe, and he goes, "God, you're amazing."
Yanto's so good this season. It's fantastic. Oh, especially the scene with the phone.
That's great.
Oh my god, the scene with the phone.
Yeah, the scene with the phone.
And then Owen's freaking out about like, oh, how are we going to get in contact with him? And he's like, there's no phones. Hello? ring, hello? Oh, can I get in contact? No, because the phones aren't working. So good.
Is there anybody there? No, because the phones don't work. Yanto.
Before it's all like cell phones, landlines, tin cans with string.
And like Owen just doesn't know what to say because he's like, I'm not the same character as last season, so
yes, I don't know how to deal with Yanto anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with Yanto anymore. And then Naoko Mori is like, guys, remember when I was Japanese? And they were like, Torture was filmed in front of a live studio audience. And like, and so anyway, the episode ends with the guy turning up at the military base and being like, and he has Rambo physics where he never runs out of bullets. And so he shoots like a good 100 rounds out of this one clip. And I'm like, oh, this is dumb. Like, it's just got, the story gets progressively worse. And it's like so hard to stick it out. But we managed to do it as a team, as a unit, and he's like, and I was like, if this if this facility is literally meant to be like an off-the-grid secret government storage facility for nuclear warheads, there are not going to be 6 random dudes. There's going to be a huge fortress around this thing where they've got like Scion labs to try and cover it up. Like, there is no way it's this little shed. It was like a little shed out in the middle of Cardiff. Yeah. Like, what? Shut up! So they turn up, and he's like, we know about you, Captain Jack. I'm like, how? And they're like, we know. And Gwen's trying to like disarm him and turn off his signal and stuff. And I'm just thinking to myself, if they know, why don't they just kill Gwen and stop her from disarming him?
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. And why was Jack still alive? He pierced his heart. I was like, last time your heart was pierced, you die.
Because he doesn't die, remember?
Yeah, but, yes he does, but he just comes back.
Literally the second episode after the one where he was dead for ages. He just doesn't die this time.
He just doesn't die this time. It was so dumb. And then the guy goes, I want to blow myself up. And they're like, how? With this piece of wax they've put together to look like an alien bomb. And they're like, no, we've got to go. They run away. They jump away from what I presume is an explosion, but it makes... was it a dog fart? Who knows what that was?
Sound.
It was so bizarre.
Like a ricochet of metal. I'm like, what is this?
And then, for no reason, they do a shot of the camera looking at the mirror on the Torchwood SUV for a good 20 seconds, right? Both the mirror and the explosion are really, really badly rendered CGI. Why?
Yeah.
Explain to me how narratively beneficial that is. Just sheer silence. There you go, guys. That was Sleeper. It was dumb.
Sorry,
sorry.
Hold on for a second. Give me a second. I was. You were too quick on the breaking of the pause because I wanted to bring this up.
That is it. So we need to put a soundboard in Discord so we can do that because they're going to be too hard to wrangle together. Anyway, at the end, they're like, we have to freeze you and we're going to wipe your husband's mind that you're married. And I just thought to myself, if her mission is a failure and she can no longer be turned into this mechanism, why doesn't she just go back to her life with her husband and retcon the last week?
Because she can be turned back into the mechanism is the problem.
They literally could just use this mind probe to turn that off. Or use retcon to make her forget that she's this creature. They have facilities there in Torchwood to stop this from occurring. They just needlessly tried to make the end sad. It could have just been like this lady goes back to her life. It was so dumb. And then she does the heroic sacrifice with the stupid bread knife hand. So I've got a bread knife hand. I was like, then how are you saving people?
It doesn't even like it. The thing is that like the better looks at it, the ones of the actual like practical effect instead of the CG, it's just like a meaty, like it's really thick and no sharp edges around it. It's very
so
curved.
how do you stab somebody?
That literally couldn't cut anything. Like
not even bread. That's the craziest thing.
You would just push it on something and it would just like mush it down instead of actually cutting it.
It's so dumb.
Okay, and while we're here, talking about those horrible things, let's say for the sake of argument, it is really good at cutting shit. All right? It's for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
If they're supposed to be the super advanced infiltration team, why would they choose to arm themselves with a weapon that they don't seem to employ to kill quickly? Like when she's defending herself against the burglars, it's like multiple stabs. If you're supposed to be super secret spy, whatever, you want to kill your targets quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because it's a defense mechanism as well, and she also fails to kill one of them as well. Like it's left alive long enough to give her away as well. It's really dumb.
Hey, let's look at another species that were fake humans that had armaments built into them. Thank you so much. Their hands would flip away into a very efficient weapon that would kill people without scorching them. So they would just drop dead, and then their hands would go away. Why didn't they just use the Autons?
Damn it, I'd locked my phone.
Yeah. So that was needlessly dumb. Autons are one of the very few monsters BBC actually owns as well. So they could have just used them.
They could have just used them.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you could have been like the Nestine consciousness was like being hired out or something, or since the London incident, the Nestine have gone into like military police. Like, just something to explain this, because we've already got an efficient blend-in creature. I mean, you wouldn't have been able to have one that had babies, because it would have just been not possible. But it just way better. Like, it's so frustrating. And their bread knife little attachment, and the practical effect was so cumbersome. Like, I feel so sorry for the actors. But why didn't their hand just morph into a blade? Instead of having this big long thing, like you just wrap their hand up in some cellophane. Yeah. Oh my god, yes. Like the T1000. Oh, it's just so dumb. I hate it. This episode sucks. So anyway, Harry Skelly, your thoughts on this dumb episode?
Yeah, the practical effect on the arm, the unfolding and unfurling, that was actually a really and looked actually kind of interesting. But other than that, it was kind of really dumb. But the main thing that is interesting about them, just adding a completely different alien race that seems to have, has the same sort of deal going on as the Autons, is that they have a force field, self-contained force field around your personal force fields, right? They seem very easily made to the point where they literally seem to be grown in. That it's capable of growing a weapon out of its arm just almost instantaneously as well, because there's clearly nowhere else that it could have been, unless there was like a Time Lord pocket as well. I don't know. That makes them even more crazy. So that's this sort of stuff, right? So one, how have they never been found out before this? If this is all that it took to get them, first off. But if it's not that easy to find them, then how does Jack know about them? Yeah. Like if they're this super crazy good secret race, then how have they been found prior to this for Jack to know about them? And really, in all rights, if this is the kind of skill that they have, is being able to literally generate bombs on the side of their arm to blow places and actually perform this sort of act, then they should have been able to take over the world years ago.
Yeah,
like,
just later
it wouldn't have taken them that much. Yeah, because like they don't need to worry about it too much. If they can take over, if they can be anybody else, then that's all they need to know about who they need to take over. Take over. They go and imitate all the presidents of the world. All of the leaders. You're done. You've taken over the world. There's no reason for you to bomb everything. You can literally just control them all into killing themselves. That's it. That's all you need to do.
I've got a major issue as well. So the force field absorbs kinetic energy, right? Jack hitting into them with the car should have crushed the SUV, and he would have been unscathed.
Yeah, sure.
And I was just like, if you're gonna use the force field mechanic and they absorb kinetic energy, you need to know what that is.
Shield screen.
Yeah, shield screen. It's been 7 years. So there we go. So anybody got anything else to add?
I've got something to add.
Okay. I got something to tell you. All right, go ahead.
Exactly. Okay, so at the end when they're doing the shooting, and it's done with the machine guns and stuff. I'd love that they shot the director and the cinematographer for this episode, because it is shot so badly. You cannot tell who is actually shooting at what point.
Yeah.
The camera keeps jumping around. There are no muzzle flashes to the firearms. It's just sound effects laid over the top. So you have no idea where shots are going, who's shooting. It is done.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Dude, I've seen a project of yours from your early days where you actually had convincing firearms.
Are you talking about the one where
in the car park?
Guns?
With just finger guns? That's the buzziest thing. It was just finger guns. It's so well choreographed. You know exactly what's going on, and you have convincing gunfire effects.
Yeah, that took so long.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We put effort in.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sorry, what?
I'm like this.
Yeah, I like this episode.
The other point is that they go to the effort of doing this whole thing where it's like, we've always been here, and then they just leave it, like no one ever picks it up.
It never gets picked up. Not even Big Finish has touched it, man. No one cares.
It's cancer. They're just like, no.
They were like, this episode is actually visual and audio cancer.
Yeah, pretty much. There's like, I need to go and have a doctor checkup after watching this episode. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, exactly. If you were harmed by the making of this podcast, please seek your local GP. We obviously can't fund that, but just go ahead and do it. Keep yourself safe and keep your family safe. That's what we say. Anybody got anything to add to this truly, truly awful piece of television failure?
It was bad. It was really, really bad. I don't actually know where you could start to fix it. I mean, there are good bits like Yanto, but that's pretty much it. There's no good way to fix this other than just completely changing the alien and the story behind it as well. Because the whole they just want to take over Cardiff thing is weird. That's basically what the deal is. They only activate in Cardiff. They only do bad things in Cardiff. They're only going to find the nukes in Cardiff. So no. It's just weird. It's bad. Go to the next one.
Right, okay guys, well that was part A. We're obviously back into the swing of it not being great, so we apologise. But we get Donna in like a month and a half, so, there is a silver lining, because even though her second episode with the adipose is a bit cartoony, I love the crap out of that episode. It's really more about just Donna and the Doctor. Who cares about the awful, awful, awful narrative? So we will see you guys in part B.